Hey, good morning, Eastern Oregon, and welcome to this August 13th version of AM Live on EOA, your connection to Eastern Oregon. You can find all of our content on the EOA.network. That takes you to a link tree where you can find all of the different places where our content is. And here in just a bit, we're going to have Donna Beverage with us. The Union County Commissioner should be with us talking about county stuff and everything that we kind of ramble on about. So, yeah. So, how are you, man?
Morning. Second Monday.
Yeah. I was looking at, I was checking out that link tree and looking at our stuff on Spotify. And, I think I knew that, but it plays the video of our stuff there also.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and it's so quick. It's really fast,
The Olympics closed on Sunday. I love the Olympics.
I know you really dove into it.
The USA tied with China for the most gold medals with 40, but they ran away with the total medal count. They had 126, which was 34 ahead of China in the overall medals. I did a little there's a really good story about the Olympics because this does not happen. The reality of it is we'll only see it one time in our lives for sure. Cuban wrestler Mijan Lopez, the Greco-Roman wrestler, he won his 5th consecutive gold medal in the same event, and that's never happened before.
Wow.
5 in a row. He was 25 years old in 2008 when he won his first gold medal in Beijing, and he was almost 42 when he won his 5th in Paris. It's pretty awesome.
That's crazy.
That's the definition of dominance in a sport. When you can dominate from the time you're 25 until you're 42, 17 years essentially.
Yeah.
Is especially in a sport like that where you have to be tip-top physical shape. Wrestling is probably the toughest sport there is, and he dominated the super heavyweight Greco-Roman weight class for almost 20 years.
That's crazy.
He left his shoes on the mat, so he's done. That means, in wrestling, that means you're retiring.
Yeah.
Well, it's weird though because high school kids do it,
right?
And it's kind of lost some of its because most of those high school kids that do it aren't retiring.
They're going on to college,
yes.
Right?
So it's kind of lost. I don't like it when high school kids do it because you're not retiring. You still have a whole career of wrestling. You can't put your shoes out there yet, but I guess it signifies the end of their high school career or whatever. But the reality of it is putting your shoes on the mat means you're done.
Yeah. Can you imagine the amount of time that it takes? What'd you say? He started in his 20s and now he's 20 years, right?
How 17 years. 5 Olympics. So.
Right, but that's all you would do. You would.
Well, they said in the article that from the last Olympics to this one, he didn't even compete.
Oh, really?
That's how good he is.
Yeah.
He didn't even compete. He just came back for the Olympics and kicked everybody's butt and.
Well.
Yeah. In Cuba too.
Yeah.
Most of that time, 2008 Cuba, they weren't. It was different there.
Right.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty dang cool, if you ask me. So it's a tough sport to dominate even for 5 years, let alone 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool. All over all over everywhere, they talked about Tom Cruise jumping out on the.
Yeah, I'm not a Tom Cruise fan, so.
Yeah.
I didn't. I saw a little bit of it, but I don't like him, so I think he's an idiot. That's pretty strong feeling.
I did think of you when he stepped off.
Oh yeah, that would be scary. Yeah, I saw a little clip of it, the different from his Mission Impossible stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was more interested in seeing the performers at the closing ceremonies than him.
Yeah.
Because they had Billie Eilish and Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, and because Paris handed it off to L.A.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool how they do that. The mayor of Paris hands off the Olympics to the mayor of LA, and it's gonna no breakdancing in the 2028 Olympics. Thank God.
You know, I haven't seen any of those clips, but it must have been kind of hideous.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
I mean, breakdancing's awesome. I love it. But
right.
It's don't belong in the Olympics.
Yeah.
No way.
I did see this morning on the Portland news where one of the gals on the gymnastic team is from Oregon. I mean, which school?
Oregon
It's one of the
State.
Oregon State.
Oregon
Yeah.
State. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Jordan Childs got her bronze medal taken away.
I saw that. I heard that.
Unfortunately, that happens. I
Yeah.
mean, when they go back and relook at everything, and there was some technicality, like judging wise, where the other girl ended up with a better score. I mean, it sucks, but it happens.
well, I mean, it's even more of a technicality than that. So they gave it to the original gal.
Jordan Childs,
No, they gave it to the Argentina. Is Jordan Childs
the American.
The American. Okay, no, so they gave it to the one who ended up. So she received it first, and then they did a challenge. U.S. did a challenge, and so then they gave it to Jordan Childs. Okay, and then the other team challenged that they had challenged 4 seconds too late, and so so it's kind of a.
I mean, if it's a rule though, it's a rule. It's like that whole thing with Baker in the state championships for track.
Yeah.
Losing their state championship in the 4x1 because the kids spiked the baton.
Yeah, that's not like this at all. But
well, but if it's a rule and it got broken, then
no. I mean, that's not this situation though. That's like, I mean, you'll have to look into it. There's no use.
Well, if you said that they challenged them challenging it on time.
So the challenge from the U.S. team. Who was it originally? The Argentinian team? I can't remember
I have
which.
no idea.
Okay,
I know Jordan Childs was the bronze medal winner, and they took it away from her. That's
and
all
who
I
did they
know.
give it to? Do you know?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
No clue.
It's all right. Well, there's no use wasting more.
They appealed it, and it was denied. The U.S. appealed it, and it got denied.
No, the U.S. appealed it.
No, I'm talking about them taking away the bronze from her. They already appealed that, and it got denied.
Okay.
They took away the Americans' bronze medal. She doesn't have a bronze medal now at all.
Right.
USA already appealed that, and it got denied.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know anything before that. I have no clue.
Yeah. Well, and I do. So.
Yeah, but you're okay. Then explain.
Okay. No, I don't
Explain
want
it to all of us.
No, I don't want to take the time to do it. This is stupid. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
you want to do sports?
Must not be that important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And Sports Report brought to you by Hobby Habit. Go check out the new Disney Lion King Legos. Those are cool, man. They have a lot of cool stuff there at Hobby Habit, 411 1st Street in LeGrand, just for the fun of it. LeGrand High School grad Andrew Peasley showed up on Saturday in his preseason debut for the Jets. He was 8 of 11 for 73 yards, and his first NFL touchdown ever to Jason Brownlee early in the second quarter of a Jets 20-17 win over the Redskins in the preseason opener.
The rookie QB, Peasley, floats it up. Caught, touchdown, Brownlee. Jets are on the board. Perfectly placed by Peasley.
Peasley, man, impressive throw and an impressive catch, and finally the Jets get on the board.
Brownlee's got great wingspan.
You can see there in the replay, that ball was right on the money. I mean, and that's what Andrew's going to have to do to make this team. There's 5 quarterbacks on the Jets right now, and they're trying to figure out who's going to be there with probably Tyrod Taylor and Aaron Rodgers, who's a future Hall of Famer. I would imagine they're probably going to keep 3 quarterbacks maybe. He's going to have to do that every week during the preseason, and hopefully he makes his team up. Either that or maybe another team will see what he's doing and sign him. You never know. But awesome. First NFL touchdown. That's got to be a great feeling. It's every kid's dream, that plays sports, is to play at the highest level, and he's there. They play this Saturday against the Panthers at 4 o'clock in their second preseason game of the year. EOU football kicks off their season with a home scrimmage versus Pacific Northwest Christian College on Saturday, August 31st, right here at Community Stadium. This past week, the EOU football team was picked 7th in the Frontier Conference in the coaches poll. During the Frontier Conference media days, I asked returning senior Quincy Glasper a question about the offensive coordinator. Here it is.
Yeah, I'm Kyle Dodds with EOA Live in LeGrand. So my question is going to be mainly for Quincy, but Coach Camp, feel free to address this as well. With 2 new offensive coordinators in your first 2 years at EOU, how have you made that not a distraction? And what have you told the players? I mean, you're the offensive leader. What have you told your guys to kind of make that not take away from what you guys are doing?
I feel like it just came down to like how Coach Cam just said, like the offense isn't too much different than the offense we ran last year. And then at the same time, I feel like it's just a buy-in on our end. Like, you know, they give us the film that they want us to watch. They give us all the plays, the playbook, like we get installs, all that stuff is all headed out to us. So I feel like it's all in our hands. It's nothing too difficult. And if it was, I don't think Coach would put us out there to set us up for failure. So I feel like we're pretty confident and we like the offense ourselves. So it's not too bad.
Dodzy, I'll go ahead and answer that too. This is from my standpoint, this was the first offense I ever learned, right? I mean, this was an old Blaine Bennett from Central Washington, and it's just been added on as Zach Tinker doing those things. And I always say, you know, the coach is very important, but the players that you have, we can run any offense we want to run, but we have to have players to do it. And that's why I believe this offense here, Quincy is so much more comfortable in this offense. Our backup quarterbacks are so much more comfortable just because of what we're trying to get done. And again, credit Leon. He's done an excellent job of explaining it, what needs to be done. But at the end of the day, the O-line coach and running back coach got to show up every single day, and we got to get him some time. We got to get these quarterbacks some time. As you guys watched last year, that was one of the things. We had discussions about it all the time. We had to be able to protect him. You can have anybody you want back there, but when they're running for their life, it's not working out. So again, I am very, very confident on what we're doing and how we're doing it and having answers. And again, I was telling Leon this coming out of offensive meetings the other day. It's like I went back in college coaching 25 years, and we're on the same page. I understand exactly what he's talking about. So obviously that would be a lot easier for us to explain it to these young men on a daily basis, because the offense is what it is, right? Every offense has its own unique things, but I think this one here fits our quarterbacks a lot better. Thank you for the question. I appreciate it.
So there in the video, senior quarterback Quincy Glasper, senior defensive back and member of the 2019 LHS state champion football team, Blaine Shaw, and Coach Camp. There's some big expectations. They got to have a better year than 2-8 this year in my eyes. 2-8 just don't cut it. Starting 7th in the Frontier Conference, I think they're better than that. And we'll see. There's a new offensive coordinator. He's a C of I guy. And new defensive coordinator, Solo Taylor. A lot of new things going on at EOU for football, and hopefully we have a good year. Finally, Cade's Courage up there once again. The QR code where you can scan it. Go to their GoFundMe page for the McKinley family. Cade's a 3-sport sophomore athlete at LeGrand High School, and he was diagnosed with a rare form of Ewing sarcoma cancer. He's got a long battle in front of him, and the family's going to need some help. If you don't like the whole GoFundMe thing, there's an account set up at US Bank here in LeGrand, McKinley family or Cade's Courage, and you can donate. It's much appreciated. AM Sports Report brought to you by Hobby Habit right here in LeGrand, just for the fun of it.
All right. So it was raining this morning. You said you had thunder last night?
There was, it was this morning. Like, it woke me up about 4 o'clock, I think, right around there. And I don't wake up. If I'm asleep, I have a hard time getting to sleep. Yeah. But once I get there, I'm out.
Yeah.
And it woke me up. Huh. And there's only one other thing that wakes me up, and that every once in a while, the garbage man. But the dumpster is literally right down beneath my window in the alley. So, like, I can hear that banging, of the forks going in. Yeah. But, it was loud enough that it woke me up. Huh. It freaked me out. I didn't know what it was at first. I was like, what the heck is going on?
Well, let's look at the weather. So it's supposed to get up to 81 today, and so it probably means it's going to be muggy, I'll bet.
I would imagine. Well,
Yeah.
it says only 42% humidity. That's not horrible.
Yeah.
Maybe it's going to clear up a little bit.
And then tomorrow, looks like it's going to be, around 80s. It's not going to be overwhelmingly hot, which would be nice.
Of course, on Saturday, it's going to start getting hot again on the day we have to be at a golf tournament. I mean, 89 is not horrible.
Yeah.
It's not 104.
Yeah.
It's more manageable.
Yeah. So yeah, and you guys are going down. Creating Memories for Disabled Children is I'm on their board. That is a cool camp that is up at Wallowa Lake there at the old Boy Scout camp, and anyhow, they have a golf tournament in Bend this weekend, and you and Benny are going down to cover that, and
Should be fun.
Yeah.
We went last year we had a good time.
yeah, and that's a fundraiser for them. So yeah,
Yeah, it'll be a little more, a little less stressful this year. Like last year, we left 2:00 in the morning, got back the next day at 11,
no,
and we didn't sleep at all.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
the
and
whole
I've-
time.
yeah, I made that trip the year before,
Ooh.
and that's a long way to go down and back in one day and
Well,
do
and
the
work all day
tournament.
too.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it was rough.
Yeah. No, I'd love to. I've talked about it with Dana. Have another version of that tournament or that fundraiser here at Buffalo Peak, because that'd be cool to be able to do that. So,
That would be cool.
all righty. So Donna Beverage is going to be with us here in just a minute. But before we do that, I just want to mention to you that we are doing our high school sports football coverage is starting at the end of this month. And this year we are doing Baker City, LeGrand, and Pendleton home games. And so that's an opportunity for your business, especially if you're trying to reach Eastern Oregon. And you can advertise. There are 4 home games for each of those teams, and you can advertise in the home games for $549, or you can advertise in all of those games for $1,299. And again, the great opportunity if you have a business and you're trying to get the name of your business or your mission in front of Eastern Oregon people. That's really a great opportunity. And our high school sports are probably the most. I mean, I have people tell us fairly often that, hey, if we could advertise all the time in high school football, if you guys did that more often, if football happened more than once a year, that they would love to be a part of that. So it's a good opportunity, and I just want to be sure to mention that. All right, we'll be right back right after this with Donna Beverage. Welcome to Creating Memories for Disabled Children at beautiful Wallowa Lake, Oregon. Over the years, we have offered families of children with disabilities a free vacation at our beautiful camp properties. These getaways are a respite for families who often deal with an increased amount of emotional stress, financial hardships, and isolation. At Creating Memories, these families are able to relax in the knowledge that their child is loved and that their efforts are seen. Since 2018, we have completed a cabin renovation every 2 years, continually increasing our capacity to serve. We have fully renovated 3 cabins to become fully accessible lodging for families, including full kitchens and wheelchair-accessible bathrooms. now turn our focus to the lodge building at the Creating Memories camp. Our vision for the lodge includes gatherings, networking, education, connections, community, and fellowship. We want it to be a place for families to share their struggles and joys, their needs and their knowledge, their setbacks and their celebrations. We are creating memories for disabled children, and our mission is to do just that. All right, we're back with Union County Commissioner Donna Beverage.
Hi there.
How are you, man?
Good.
How are you, woman?
Good. How are you?
Good.
How are you guys?
Yeah, we're doing good.
Good.
So, like, you're getting close to the end of your term. Yeah.
A new person will get put in first week of January.
Yeah.
Sworn in. Yep.
How are you feeling about leaving?
I'm feeling okay because I feel like there's some good the two top candidates are care about the county, and it'll just be a new chapter in my life. But in the meantime, until my last day, I'll continue to work for the county on those things that I think that are important to our constituents.
Yeah. Well, good.
Yeah.
So, why don't you, I don't know, update us on what is...
Well, probably most
yeah.
of you know that all the fires that are going on are at the front of our mind.
Yeah.
So far Union County has been fortunate compared to many of our surrounding counties and much of Oregon as far as fires and that kind of thing. Doesn't mean that the fire season's over by a long shot. We're fortunate to get that rain last night, but it's still very dry, and a lot of times this is just the beginning of fire season in August. So had a call this morning with some of our Oregon legislators, senators, and representatives talking about the needs that we're going to have moving forward after these fires, and so we're already talking about that and how we can, how the state can help, how we can help each other. I just want to thank all the firefighters and all the people that have been working, the farmers and ranchers, everyone that has worked so hard to try to, control these fires and protect communities and homes and businesses. So that's really important. Had a few stats on the Ukiah fire, which is really the closest one to us. We've had a couple of just small ones that were an acre or two, but were put out pretty quickly. But it's called the Battle Mountain Complex, and it ended up, well, it's not completely out, but pretty much out. 61% containment right now, and at this time it's about almost 183,000 acres. And the cause is under investigation, so we don't really know what caused it yet. So far, personnel's been 1,733 people. Estimated cost $54 million. That's a lot. So that's just one of many fires. I believe a week ago there were 36 fires burning in Oregon, and so that was going to be a topic, probably the main topic of conversation this year across our counties and across the state, and so yeah, we're just going to pray that we don't have too many more fires. Last year we kind of had a lull in that.
Right.
It wasn't too bad, but I guess in the meantime, that fuel was building up and that kind of thing. I feel it's really important that that we look at managing our forests and grazing as tools to help with managing fire, as we used to do in what I consider the olden days.
Yeah.
I think that fire can be good in certain situations, but certainly when it gets out of control, that's not good. And if there's ways we can manage it, that's even better.
Yeah.
So
We already broke the record for Oregon for acres burned in a year.
Yeah.
Already. 1.4 million already.
yeah.
Wow. What was it before that, remember? Yeah.
But that's the record, huh? Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's
I mean
how
that
many
we broke the
burned.
record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We burnt
Yeah.
1.4 million so far as of like yesterday or the day before.
Wow.
It's a lot of acres.
Yeah, and we still have a
half
lot.
of that's Durkee though.
Yeah, Durkee.
Over half of that's
Yeah,
the
Durkee
Durkee
was a
fire.
huge fire.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And so anyway, that's sad, but it is going to be a high priority for all of us. Wallowa County had quite a few fires. You know, Grant County, Baker County was inundated with fire, and that would be Durkee as part of that. Yeah, a lot of them on the phone call this morning were happy to have that rain that we got last night, because a lot of Eastern Oregon got that, and that was very helpful to kind of tone things down a little bit.
Do you think the people on the west side of the state, do they realize what our problem is? I mean, do these kinds of things
Right.
get their attention?
Well, I don't know until a few years ago, but I don't know if you remember, a few years ago there were a lot of fires on the west side
Yeah.
that they
Scott's
hadn't.
Mills burnt down.
Yeah, that they hadn't had for many years. So I do believe that they definitely understand after going through that. That was very difficult for them, and with the amount of population they have. Until then, I don't know, because I feel like it was more on the
Right.
east side of the state. But
Right.
a couple of years ago, the west side just got hammered. So I feel like we're getting a lot of understanding from the state and from the governor on the fire. They've been calling us and asking us what we need, and working with us this last year, or the last actually month. So that's been really, really good. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. I mean, good for a bad situation. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. All you can do is try to work together to improve it.
Yeah.
Yeah, or to try to make it less damaging.
Yeah. Well, and it's easy. Fires are easy for them to, if they're not right here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we notice them, but we've been really fortunate. I mean, the downside we've had is the smoke,
Right. So
But-
even in Union County, because it wasn't right
Right.
next to us, it's easy for us to be like, oh, they're all
Yes, yeah,
fine, because
right.
it's just a little ways
Right.
away, other than the smoke.
Right.
So unless you're the one inundated with it, but we have been inundated with it before, so we
Right.
totally understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what else is on your agenda list? What's on? Yeah.
Well, a lot of legislature this morning, some talk about, what's important to us legislative-wise. One of the things we're talking about is there's not going to be as much money available for maintenance of roads through the transportation in Oregon. And so we're talking about, wanting to make sure that, especially in these rural areas, that we have money for maintenance, and how did we go about that? So that's a big topic of conversation right now.
So why isn't there? What's
there-
happening?
There won't be as much tax money because some of the businesses aren't doing as well that pay a lot of taxes.
Got it.
Nike and some of the bigger businesses like that. And so they just they don't have the numbers yet, but they think that there's going to be quite a shortfall in money for road maintenance. So that's one of the topics that we're talking about. We want to get a handle on that ahead of time, and really let the state know how important it is to at least maintain what we have. And that the rural areas, even though we don't have as much traffic as they do, it's very important that we don't get behind on that maintenance.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at that. And then the place-based water planning that I'm a part of.
Right.
So the state is starting to have some meetings on other groups that will be able to do some place-based planning. And so I'm on the advisory group for that, being we were one of the first ones. And part of that is to make sure that even our group is able to implement something, because we certainly don't want it to just to plan for 8 years and then have it sit on a shelf. So it's very important that we can move forward, and with the state agencies to work with us to make sure that we can implement some things that our local group came up with. And so that's what I will be speaking about, is that we make sure we don't waste our tax money by doing a bunch of planning and not implementing anything. And so for the Upper Grand Ronde, we have some, our 4 top projects that we're working on implementation, which as being a commissioner this year, learning that anything with government takes a long time.
Right.
It's not, it just doesn't move fast. That hopefully the next person that takes my place will continue on this path forward to do some implementation, and then also being on that advisory committee to help other areas be able to do their planning and work on water issues, because every county, every basin is totally different. If you look at Wallowa Lake or Wallowa County, Baker County, Union County, we're all totally different, and our needs are different.
Right.
And so you can't really do a one-size-fits-all the way across Oregon. You can't make one rule pertaining to water or anything else, really. You have to look at the individual area and basin, and so that's why I am thankful for the place-based planning. Place-based just means local, and wanting to know what our needs are, what our, what the local people see as the priorities, and maybe the data gaps and that kind of thing, because there are a lot of data gaps in Oregon, and we don't want to just make decisions without data.
Right.
We want to make sure that we have the data to back those decisions up. For example, one thing that they were working on is, the possibility of not ever letting anybody drill another well. Well, you can't, in my opinion, it should not be a one-size-fits-all. If there's an area that has data showing, that, our wells are going down, 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 and we don't have enough water, then in that area maybe do that. But without data, you don't want to do that all the way across the state. And especially with housing being a high priority in Oregon. Well, if housing's a high priority, but you can't have water, those are going to kind of contradict each other. So those are things that we're working on. Yeah.
So what is the rationale? I mean, so I'm just so dumbfounded that somebody would think that it's okay to disallow wells. I'm not getting that.
Right. Now, like I'm saying, if there's some data saying that, that area, which Harney County has that problem.
Okay.
But we don't have that data here. And so, we don't want to, but it's just been proposed, and they have been doing public hearings, which I've spoke at those public hearings, and others have also, let's don't do a across the board, moratorium on no wells when we don't know if that's necessary. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then I was you said on the place-based storage. Mm-hmm. So what is the next action point? What is
You don't just zip right into storage.
Of course.
Of course. There's a ton of studies you have to do.
Right.
There's in-stream studies. There's about 10 different studies that you have to do, and then you have to get approval from many different, places. And so right now we're trying to do, we got $100,000 for the feasibility study.
Okay.
So now we're working on those studies to lay the framework to go to the next. If you look at Wallowa Lake, just for them to raise it, a little bit. They've been working on that for 15 years, and then now they were just getting ready to raise it, and they had the money, and now that just got stopped again. And so it takes a long time.
Right.
And people need to work together. And really my goal as a convener of the group is to make sure that, when we do a water project, that it helps all water users and harms none. Which I think I've talked to you guys about that before, but if it helps fish, that's great, but it can't harm agriculture or the cities.
Right.
Or if it helps the city, that's awesome, but it can't hurt the agriculture and the fish. So that's a high bar, but at the same time, all those water users are important. So we need to, our group came together and felt like storage helped the fish, the farmer, and the cities. And so those are some areas that we're working on right now and trying to lay the groundwork for.
So then the process, once all of the boxes are checked and you get through, and then it's like, okay, then they still have to find the funds in order to actually do the work.
Right. And,
or is that part of the process?
Well, no. No, the funds to actually do the work are after you've done the work, and you can say, this is our project, and this is what it's going to cost. You get your feasibility studies, and then you get your costs together, And then you start looking for the funds, which, you know, hopefully the state can help with that. You're going to have some federal funds that are involved. There's going to be many funds that come together. And that also takes a long time. That
Yeah.
isn't something you just zip through, but that's where you have to have, you know, all the basis,
Right.
what you're going to do, what the costs are going to be, what is the advantage, how much water are you going to get, what water uses is it going to help, that kind of thing.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah,
for
you're
that
welcome.
explanation. That helps.
Yeah, you're welcome. And then, not as a commissioner, but I'm the president of the city chamber and union. We just got done having the Grassroots Festival this weekend, and then also the farm trail ended in Union with a really nice dinner from 4 to 6 with a live band. So it was a really nice day. Had 45 vendors and about 50 cars. You know, lots of stuff for the kids. Everything free. You know, it's free family fun. And then we end the evening with, well, during the day there's a chalk contest on our sidewalks. There's a duck race down Catherine Creek. We had a crazy hat contest this year. Then we have lawnmower races, which are not really like fast races. They're more, because even little kids can do them. They're just more old, slow lawnmowers. It's a family thing.
Right.
And then we do a family street dance where it's from little kids to adults. Everything's family friendly. It's in that it ends at 10 o'clock at night. Started with 42 yard sales at 7 a.m. on Saturday, which is a lot of yard sales, but that brings a ton of people to Union.
Yeah.
And then also we were excited that the Grand Ron Rodeo decided to be in Union this year, and it was also on Friday and Saturday of the Grassroots Festival. So that brought more people to Union too. So hopefully they continue in Union. If we're on the same day, then that just brings that nice crowd and helps our businesses to be busy that day, which is really the goal of the whole festival.
Yeah, awesome.
So yeah, so that turned out fun. And you know, you can work all year, you can plan, and if the weather's bad, you know, or
Right.
if it rains, or one year it hailed on us,
Right, yeah.
or you know, 110 degrees. I heard the car show in La Grande, it was like 104 that day,
Yeah.
which is really hot. We lucked out and it was only about 90
Yeah.
on Saturday, but you know, all the volunteers that work so hard to put something like that together, you know, it's just really weather dependent.
Yeah,
So we were fortunate this year that it turned out nice.
that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. And let's see, what else do I have here? Those are some of the main things we're working on. One of the things that were brought up at our call this morning was the school truancy. You know, during COVID and stuff, they kind of lifted the boundaries on that. So
Right.
the schools in Union County are really trying to work to enforce what was originally there, and you know, get our kids back in school, and making sure that they're learning so that they can graduate and that kind of thing. So, you know, that's something that we'll be talking about also.
Yeah, no, and we've had several conversations with George Mendoza about that.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I happened to be at some of the city council meetings when the truancy thing, I think, that came from the county originally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, so no, that's all good.
Mm-hmm.
Helps kids to remember that. Yeah, you got to show up. You got to go to school.
Well, yeah, it's important. I mean, and it also it starts a good habit, because showing up for school, and then when you get a job, you also have to show up. So it teaches the
Right.
kids
No.
that habit, you know, that you have to show up.
Yeah.
And you know, an employer can't really hire you if you don't come to work.
Yeah.
And because they have bills to pay also. And so it's teaching the kids some good habits that they're going to need later in life, on top of the fact that they're going to learn by attending school and being there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and it's funny. I mean, I have younger people that we intersect, and they're maybe interested in, you know, interning or something, whatever it might be, and it's just the importance. I'll put it this way: the importance of them being able to show up regularly and on time,
Right.
and to be able to return a text message or a
Right.
call or whatever the case might be. I mean,
Yep.
just some of those most basic things. That's
Yeah.
kind of where it all begins. you know.
Right.
If they
Yeah.
can't get over that hurdle, then
Right.
it's just
Yeah,
It's,
so, I mean-
it's difficult to train them. So,
Right,
Yeah.
and so that's just super important.
Yeah.
And you know, it's because we care about the kids.
Yeah.
And we want them to have a good future.
Absolutely.
And so we want them to be able to go to school because if you miss a few days, you might have missed the most important part of a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
And then how do you pass a test when you've missed that? So there's just not on, and then on top of that, just the habit of, like you said, being there on time, being there every day, unless you're sick or something, and then that's a good habit to have later in life when you have a job.
Yep.
And your employer needs you to show up and do your job.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of good kids. I mean, I can tell you at the Grassroots Festival how many volunteers I had that were kids
Right.
that were 18 and under or 20 and under, and I mean they just got right in there, and whatever you would ask them to do, they would just get it done. It was pretty neat to see.
Well, and I see those kids, and they're just and it's they're exceptional. The ones that that's encouraging when you see a teenager and they're
What can I do?
They're,
What
they're
can I do to help
progressing
you?
really well. Yeah,
Yeah.
they have a great spirit and they want to help.
Yeah.
And they want to learn and
Yeah. And that starts, when they're little, just,
Yeah.
letting them help, and they don't even think about it being helping.
Yeah.
They just think, let's go out and pull weeds or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll go get an ice cream cone later.
Well, and it's funny, the farm kids particularly, you see social media. I saw a social media clip of it's probably a 5-year-old girl who's driving the truck. It's a pickup. It's in low range,
Right.
and all she's doing, he's
Steering.
Yeah, he's tossing hay out of the, he's
Right.
feeding the cows.
Saying, don't run into something.
Yeah, and it was just, but I mean,
Yeah.
that is not uncommon for
Right.
kids.
And it just becomes a natural habit
Right.
now. But the thing is, some kids aren't born on a farm. Some kids
Right.
live in an apartment or that kind of thing. So
Right.
that's where it's good to have, like, the Scouts or 4-H or
Absolutely.
FFA.
Right.
Different projects. Different things that they can be in, or
Yeah.
or Arts East where they can go do some art.
Yeah,
Whatever their
absolutely.
habit, whatever
Right.
their talents are.
Yeah.
I mean, there's other outlets for that, but even then you can learn responsibility,
Right.
no matter what it is. So it's
Yeah.
kind of neat. I think Union County has a lot of those things. The Union County Fair that, we just had a couple
Right.
of weeks ago was just awesome to see all the kids working hard and doing things. And it was pretty neat at the auction. This one young man that's dealing with cancer, and all the people bidding and stepping up, and every tears in people's eyes, just supporting
Right.
the kids. I just can't stress enough how fortunate we are in Union County to have businesses and people that support our kids and are teaching them how to work and
Yep.
and teaching them responsibility, and it's pretty neat to see.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
very cool.
That's all I can think of
Well-
as far as the county wise, unless you have a question.
No.
Every day we have stuff come up, but those are the main things we're
Yeah.
working on now.
No, that's cool. I mean, I guess one of the things I was thinking about was talking about roads and repair. During the budget season, Doug Wright talked about buying a machine that would help, like a cold. I can't remember the name of the machine, but anyhow, the machine was going to allow the county to be able to take
On their
care
own time, do
Yes,
some
right,
instead
yeah.
of waiting for somebody to come in with their machine.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I thought that was a really good thing. I mean, and so anyhow, at some point, I'd be interested in knowing if that's progressing, as he's gotten that yet.
Yeah, and he did just get I believe it was a new truck. But I would say Commissioner Andrus would be the one,
Yeah.
because he's our liaison to Public Works.
Yeah.
And he could probably answer a little more detailed question on that.
Yeah. And I think that it was. We see these gigantic road grinders. They grind the road
Right.
down,
Yeah.
and then they recycle that material.
Right,
that
and
they-
put it back on the road.
Right. Yeah. And that's what this machine was.
It is pretty neat, some of the stuff through the years that they come up with.
Right.
It's so different. and so much better to be able to like recycle things and that kind of thing. It just amazes me, all the different machines that are, make things easier and that can reuse the materials.
Well, and since I ran for commissioner, now I'm just more aware. I mean, we drove out to Camp Elkanah over the weekend, or wherever we're driving.
Like you didn't look at the roads that much before, but
right.
now you do.
Right.
Okay,
well,
yeah.
and it's not even that as much as it is that it's like, wow, the amount of land that the county is responsible, the amount of roads ultimately, I mean, it's just that's vast. I mean, it's like
And Doug Wright does a good job of managing that, and with the limited funds that he has, and has his maintenance schedule, and and is able to answer questions when people say, hey, what about this road or that road? So he does a really good job with that.
Well, and I remember I had talked with him, and he had talked about, we're getting ready to widen the road or redo the edge of Hunter Road out, and that just came by well. And then a few weeks later, we drove out Hunter clear to the tollgate highway where it goes, and they had added about another foot of
on the edge.
On the edge, but you don't even think about it that just erodes. I mean, that stuff just chips off. And
so at our last meeting, he did report that they had been working on the Morgan Lake project, and that it was going to be finished in the next week or two. So I'll probably be driving up Morgan Lake in the next week to see the finished project.
Yeah, well, and the other thing that was just interesting to me is the collaboration of funds and efforts, and I mean, that's been the other thing as I've been driving different places. This okay, well, if it's a state highway, then the state takes care of a portion of that, but as soon as it becomes a county road, then I mean, and navigating all of that, whose job is it?
So like in the city of Union, Main Street is a state highway.
Right, yeah.
But the side streets are the city streets, right?
Right.
And so like when Union made it legal for side-by-sides and four-wheelers to be in Union with a licensed driver and all, there's a whole stipulation, but that's only for the city streets. You can cross Main Street, but you can't go down Main Street because it's a state highway. Right, and so you're right, there's a lot of little details like that,
Right.
So when I'm bombing out in the golf cart on
don't want to
Main
know
Street
about it.
during 4th of July, that's illegal?
On Main Street. You can be on the side streets.
Maybe we should write Dana up for that.
You can be on the side streets, and you can cross Main Street. You just are not supposed to be on Main Street.
Yeah. Well, and the financial end of that too, is so then Main Street is, that state highway. It's their responsibility to maintain that from a fund standpoint. The city streets are the city of Union.
Right.
But if you have like a road, like for instance, the road that runs from Union to Cove, okay, at some point that becomes county. Right. Yeah. And so then it's like, okay, if there's a gigantic pothole that is swallowing cars, then I guess the first thing is like, okay, well...
Well, the main road from Union to Cove is a state highway.
Is that a state highway too?
Okay,
highway.
Yeah.
So, but you kind of get what I mean.
But if you went up High Valley, that's a county road.
Right, yeah.
From Union to Cove.
Right, yeah.
Bud Forrest says someone should tell the folks in Union what you were saying about it.
That they're not supposed to go down Main Street?
Right, yeah. Oh, you see it all the time. Well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's funny.
No, but it's the same thing in LeGrand. I mean, so Adams Avenue and Island City Avenue, both of those are state highways.
Right.
And so then
it would be a little more difficult to do that in LeGrand and really,
oh, you mean like have people drive the
right
full,
on site?
That'll never happen.
Because you guys have so much more traffic and that kind of
never
thing.
happen here.
Well, and I'm trying to think outside of Cove. Does Cove allow four-wheelers?
I believe they do have in town. You could drive four-wheelers and side-by-sides, and you're supposed same thing cross the state highway, which is the main one going through town.
Right. Yeah.
Obviously, if you need to go to the service station, you can cross over to that.
Yeah.
But you're supposed to stay off the main highway.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a farmer and you're out irrigating, and you're going to the next field, that's okay.
That's allowed, yeah.
To go to your next field and
Right.
turn on the sprinkler and that kind of thing.
But I think generally, though, you know, OHP has a lot bigger things to do than to patrol whether or not a four-wheeler is legally on a state highway or not. You know, I mean, I suppose that there's a lot of things like that are state laws that go along with the highways, but they're not very enforced just because.
I can't speak for them.
Yeah, I know
so I
you
don't
couldn't
know.
speak for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But because it's just they've got bigger fish to fry, you know. So.
Right. Yeah, but I think a lot of the smaller cities have the ordinance where you can take your side by side to this post office and get your mail or different things like that, you know, which is pretty handy if it saves on fuel and that kind of thing.
So before we quit, what are you gonna do with your extra time once you're done?
Well,
what are you looking forward to? Let's put it that way.
Well, I don't know that I'll have extra time. So it's a new chapter, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. We live on a farm, so it's not like I'm going to be out of time.
No.
Still do
yeah.
the
Right. Yeah.
4th of July and Grassroots Festival and that kind of thing. So I may work part-time still. I just haven't decided, but have 14 grandkids, so go to more ball games and enjoy that, and help on the farm more. And I'm sure I'll find something to do, but I may work part-time too. I'm not one to just sit around, so we'll just see what comes next. But I've really enjoyed being a commissioner. I didn't plan on it, but I really enjoy the people, listening to what they care about, and working for the people. So I've really enjoyed this 8 years. It went by pretty fast, really.
Yeah.
Time flies.
Well, and I like. And I know you're an important part of that. I like what's happening in Union. I like that the city of Union is they're kind of stepping it up. Mm-hmm. I mean, and
well, we have a new Main Street group, and a lot of volunteers are on it. And then we have got a lot of good people doing the stock show. Right. And then they're starting to rent that out more. They have the Rodeo Bible Camp, and then now they have the Grand Ron Rodeo. And then we have a new city manager. She's from Elgin, and Celeste Tate.
Yeah, and she was on the show.
She's doing a great job.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have Dana at the golf course. And, so we have a lot of good things going on over there, and everybody's working together. They're not working in silos, so we kind of all work together for what's the good. And I also feel like in Union County we do that too. Like I meet with Timothy Bishop from the city of LeGrand, and then LeGrand Main Street and the Union County Chamber. We all meet once a month. And then EOVA, Eastern Oregon Visitors Association, and we talk about economic development. We talk about what's going on. What businesses we've been talking to, what their needs are, how we can help them, and so there's a lot of us working together instead of against each other, because we know that if it helps one of us, it helps everybody.
Right. Yeah.
And I just feel really good about that, and I'm hoping that the next commissioner just keeps continuing that on. Yeah.
Well, good.
To make it good, for all of us,
Well,
for the whole region.
Well, and the water part, I think that you've been working on is really important to just keep pushing on that and to keep. Water is life. I mean, if we don't have water, we have nothing. And so we need to really, I look at places like Klamath Falls. We need to really make sure that we protect water in all areas. I mean, part of that is getting some more data so we know, what water we do have and don't have. But at the same time, just working together to get that data and to make those good decisions so that we're still here, 100 years from now and doing well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Well, Donna, thank you. Mm-hmm. Thanks for being on this morning.
Yeah.
And appreciate you coming and giving us an update. And yeah.
And Andrew Peasley, I'm excited. I saw that first touchdown he did, and congratulations to Andrew.
Yeah, how crazy is that?
That's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, you want to get us out of
Let's
here?
do it. On this day, August 13th, 1907, the very first taxi cabs go into operation in New York City. They were imported by Harry Allen. 1913 on this day, stainless steel was invented in Sheffield, England by Harry Brearley. We're going to jump all the way to 1997 because nothing happened between 1913 and 1997. Animated TV sitcom South Park debuts on Comedy Central. 1997, that was my senior year in high school. It's a long time ago. 2008 on this day, American super swimmer Michael Phelps wins 3 gold medals in one day. The crazy part about it is in those 3 gold medals, he broke the world record in all 3 of those events. 3 world records, one day. Wow. Michael Phelps. It's crazy. 200-meter individual medley, 200-meter butterfly, and the 4x200 freestyle relay, which is crazy. 3. Most people never get to even close to a world record. He broke 3 in one day.
Wow.
That's just nuts. 2020, new details about the enormous Deinosuchus, which is the terror crocodile. This crocodile was real. I mean, it was the size of a bus with teeth the size of bananas. Could you imagine coming? It lived during the Cretaceous period, about 84 million years ago. Could you imagine coming into contact with one of them things? The size of a crocodile, the size of a bus with banana teeth the size of bananas? That'd be a bad day.
That would be a bad day.
That would be a real bad day. On this day in 2004, the #1 movie in America was Alien versus Predator. And then the quote in honor of the closing of the Olympic Games comes from Jesse Owens. We all have dreams, but in order to make dreams come into reality, it takes an awful lot of determination, dedication, self-discipline, and effort. One more time. We all have dreams, but in order to make dreams come into reality, it takes an awful lot of determination, dedication, discipline, and effort. That's it. Jesse Owens.
Wasn't Jesse Owens the one that ran in the Olympics like right before World War II?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And that was what an exclamation mark that was. Yeah. So. All righty. Hey, thanks, Donna.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you being here. We'll see you guys. See you Thursday.